Hello, this is Eileen Guilbeault today with The Real Las Vegas, and we are having a little chat with Aundrea Beach-Greco. She is a local mortgage lender, and she has all kinds of awesome info for us. But the one thing that I wanted to find out is because everybody comes to Las Vegas a different way. So I came because my dad was in construction, and that's how we ended up here in 1980.
Oh.
Yes, so I've been here a little while. So when did you move to Las Vegas?
So I moved here in 91.
Okay.
And I came here at that stage, it was 19. Then
Yeah.
I went to UNLV and never left. That's
Okay, so you've been here a little while.
I have.
Have you always been in the mortgage industry?
After I graduated college, I went straight into mortgage, and I've been doing it for 22 years.
Awesome.
All in Las Vegas.
But you must enjoy it.
I do.
Good.
I love what I do.
Yeah, that's a huge thing that you have to love what you do.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're not very good at it, I
Yeah.
find.
Well, and then, you know, those old sayings of when you love what you do, it's not really a job.
True.
You know, so,
Yeah.
you know, there's been times in this industry it's very stressful and it's daunting, but I can't picture myself doing anything else. You
Awesome.
know, so.
Yeah.
It's
So I always like giving people information on, there's so many programs, there's so much that each individual, you know, company sometimes says, oh, we offer this or we offer that. So is there something now that is being offered that you feel is just an awesome program for people?
My biggest passion is helping first-time home buyers and educating them and helping them get their credit in order so that they can buy a home and understand the benefits of buying a home. We do right now have some great down payment assistance programs. Not all lenders have access to it or want to do them because unfortunately the company makes less on those loans than a standard loan, which I find sad because, you know, why are you going to eliminate or discriminate offering a product because you make less? You know, you should offer everything to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
So as far as that goes, I think that, you know, again, our company is pretty robust. We offer 99% of every product that's out there. We have access to things that some companies don't have. We have an all-in-one product that's tied to a checking account. It's a first lien HELOC. We have a product called Home Fund It, which is like crowdfunding your down payment. And those are products that we are the only lender in the country that has access to and that we provide.
So can you explain that a little more about what did you call it? You said it's crowdfunding?
Correct. So for instance, everyone's pretty familiar with GoFundMe.
Right.
So for instance, if I was getting married or I was ill, you know, those are kind of the examples that you see online when people are putting up a GoFundMe account. So we have something that it's proprietary, they've called it Home Fund It, but the concept is the same. So let's say you're getting married, you're buying a house. Well, you're depending upon your age, you probably have pots and pans and towels and all that stuff that you don't really need. And instead of doing a registry and putting pots and pans and the normal kind of housewares, you can put, I would like funds to help me buy a down payment, and anyone can contribute to that.
That's amazing.
Friends, family, your church, maybe there's a college group that you belong to, fraternity, sorority. Anyone can donate to it to help you with your down payment.
That is absolutely amazing. And that can be a game changer if you have everything in order. Say your credit is in order, you know where you want to move, you know what your budget is, and the only thing keeping you from buying is a down payment. That's an awesome resource to have.
Because it is the number one obstacle. Again, I'm sure you're familiar, but again, with buying a home, that is the biggest challenge people have. Is having enough money for a down payment. And of course, the other thing is the myth that you need a large down payment, because you don't. We do have programs and areas in Vegas where you can do 100% financing.
Wow.
So those are still options.
Yeah.
So it's an education piece, you know, to tell people, look, you can buy with little down. There are resources if you don't have it, grants, down payment assistance.
Yeah.
This home fund me program, you know.
And then I have a question for you.
Sure.
A big stigma that I think people kind of shy away from is credit repair. I know that not everyone has been able, you know, since the mortgage crisis, I know a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people had to move, you know, cross country. They had to leave their childhood homes. They had, you know, just a lot of things happen that affected credit. And I know a lot of people aren't out of that process yet. Can you kind of go through, because I know sometimes it's hard for people if they already know that they have lousy credit, to go to somebody and say, hey, listen, I want to buy a house, you know, already knowing that their credit stinks.
Right, yeah.
You know, can you just kind of dispel that?
Sure.
That, I don't know what it would actually be called, just that bad rap that, you know, people think that if they have bad credit, they have no access to purchasing a house.
Right. Well, I think with that, I think it's an acknowledgement. Obviously, if you're not buying a home, you're probably not, or a car, you're not thinking about your credit. Most people
True.
are. So that's the first thing. But if they've gone through an event and there's items on their credit, the first thing is that for them to be okay. Again, it's sometimes personal,
Right.
But it's
Oh,
good.
absolutely.
It's sometimes for them to be okay with. Okay, I understand. I had issues in the past. I'm ready to move forward and be accepting of someone to pull a credit report to
Right.
help guide them. So what we try to do is take a holistic approach to somebody if they're willing, of course, and pulling a credit report as a lender would see it, but then giving them a guidance and advice as to what could you do to go forward.
Right.
What things or steps can you do to improve your score or get home buyer ready? Because of course, if that's your goal, then you might want to do other steps rather than, you know, take path A versus path B. But I think the first thing is for people to understand, just because you had a significant derogatory event, whether that was bankruptcy or foreclosure,
Right.
short sale, you can buy again, and it could be in as little as 2 years.
Right.
But it's going to take some effort on your part.
Right. It's going to take work.
It is. It's, you
Yeah.
know, they have to be agreeable to, one, get their credit pulled, and be okay with whatever ugliness might appear,
Right.
and then be okay with us going forward and putting a plan in place and following the plan.
But you
So,
do that.
We do.
So they're
Absolutely.
they're not just thrown out to the wild to figure it out for themselves. If they come to you, you can say, listen, it's not as bad as you think, or hey, wait a minute, it's worse than you thought, but there is a path to do this so that you can own a home in the future.
Sure.
And then what is generally the time frame that takes? I mean, some people could be ready, you know, in 6 months, but I mean, on the other side of that, how long could it take?
It could take a year. I mean, it kind of depends on the person and what's happened, and if the items that need to be repaired are budget related. So
Okay.
if it requires debts to be paid down and they just don't have access to the funds, or it's a slow process of chunking that down, it might take that person longer than somebody that there's just errors, or they had a bankruptcy and didn't realize all that junk was still on there. And
Right.
so to answer that question, I'm going to have to say it's case by case, but
Yeah.
you know, it could be anywhere from 90 days to a year, depending upon the severity of what's going on with their
Okay.
situation.
And then another question that I get asked a lot that I don't think people realize is student debt. Student loan debt specifically comes into play a lot. If they're delinquent, is there a path
There is.
for that as well?
There is. So those are interesting. I always call student loans evil because unfortunately they are a means to an end, but I think younger kids, when they get them, aren't even paying attention to the end result, and
Right.
they're just looking at the focus of trying to get to the next semester, to buy books, to live, to
Right.
get through that process.
Oh, yeah.
And then at the end they go, oh crap, what did I just charge? And
Yeah.
because what happens with student loans, and 9 times out of 10, is someone gets them, they graduate, they forget they have them because everything is online now, and they forget to follow up with you.
Right.
They leave it to the child's or the student's responsibility, and then all of a sudden you're getting late letters, and you have no idea why. That's usually when the snowball starts. But to answer your question about lates and deficiencies, those do have to be rectified, because 9 times out of 10, that is going to have a negative effect on their credit score. And once you pull their credit, you're going to absolutely see why. Now, sometimes those can be fixed. I've had cases where the student didn't realize it, they missed their payments because something in the mail, and we've gotten it fixed. But sometimes if the student has ignored it just because it's this little devil on the shoulder and they don't want to deal with it, then we're going to have to work at it and get that account fixed and back into some semblance of a good account with pay history on time.
So it could potentially be fixed. It just might take a little extra work and time. Okay. So good news. It can possibly be fixed.
And student loans, unfortunately, are federal debt, so those can't be ignored. It's It's not something you can say, well, gosh, I'll just bankrupt those and put them. That will follow you forever.
Or I didn't know. You have to still. Okay, you may not have known, but now you do. And now, if you want to purchase a home, you're going to have to take care of it.
I think for people forget on an at least annual basis, maybe whenever that trigger is for people to do their own credit analysis. Have their credit pulled or pull it online, find it, check it, make sure, because 1 in 5 people have errors on their credit. They don't even realize.
Really? I didn't realize that.
A good credit, bad credit, there's errors. So you better just be mindful of it. And it's better to know what's going on and be prepared, because the day you want something is the day you're not going to be able to get it. Because unfortunately, if you're not proactive, the day you need it or want it, you're not going to be able to access it because you haven't been diligent with your credit up until
So just make it habitual. You file your taxes, pull your credit report, make sure that everything on there is correct.
And you can do that online for free once a year. So it doesn't require a lender, it doesn't require any inquiries. You can just do it yourself, but at least you're looking at what's on your report and making sure that everything is in order, so the time frame you're ready to buy a home, because again, this is what this is for, that you're ready, instead of that's when the surprise happens and the jaw drop and you're like, what is all that? And now we don't have time to fix it, or the time it will take, you've missed an opportunity with either a property or some other thing. So, but that would be my advice for people.
I think that's great advice. I didn't really think about pulling credit, because you don't think about what your credit looks like until you need it. And then it could take so long to fix it that, you could be really upset that it's going to take that time frame.
Absolutely.
Okay, so if you have any questions, if you want to get on the path to home ownership, Aundrea is willing, ready, able to help you, get you on a path to be able to do what you really want to do as far as home ownership is concerned. So on a totally different note, restaurants. I love to eat. And I love being able to go out to a good restaurant that is great service, great food, great atmosphere. And I hate when I go somewhere and it's bad service, the food is bad. So I always like getting recommendations from my friends to find out, hey, where do you love to go? So, where do you love to go?
Is Lindo Michoacan.
Oh, I love them.
They
they have a bunch of locations, don't they?
And this particular one in Henderson, I don't know how they found this spot, but it has a row of windows, strip view. And it's beautiful. Unobstructed strip view. And I like Mexican food.
Well, and then do you know if their DI location is still open? I think that was
think
their
so.
original
I think that was their original
location.
one. Mhm.
Yes, wherever it is, we'll put it in the end of the video so that I'm not confusing anybody.
Right.
Well, thank you.
Oh my gosh,
For
thank you so
taking
much.
the time
I
to
appreciate it.
meet with me.
Absolutely.
And reach out to her. She's a great resource to have.
Thank you. I appreciate
You're welcome. And we'll see you next time.